The snap of handcuffs echoed in the store's fluorescent silence. A black woman stood still, her wrists bound. Two white officers gripping her arms like trophies. To them, she was just another shoplifter caught in the act. What they didn't know, what they couldn't know, was that the woman they had just cuffed outranked them both. She was Captain Jordan Wells, an off-duty police officer with 20 years of service. And in the next few minutes, their careers would unravel. Saturday evening at Briarwood Mall. The department store was busy, couples browsing perfumes, families crowding near the escalators, teens spilling laughter through the aisles. Jordan moved with quiet purpose. At 43, she was tall, self-possessed, dressed in jeans and a polo. Her badge was invisible, her holstered firearm locked away at home. Off-duty meant anonymity, and she valued it. Today she was here for one reason, a birthday gift for her niece. She carried a small shopping bag with a book tucked inside, receipt folded neatly at the bottom. To her, it was routine. To the two patrol officers just entering the store, it was something else. The call had been vague. Suspicious activity, possible shoplifting. No description, no details, just enough for their eyes to wander until they settled on the lone black woman near the jewelry counter. Target acquired, one muttered. Jordan noticed them before they spoke. Years on the force had sharpened her instincts. The way they scanned, the way they narrowed focus, told her she was about to become their problem. Ma'am, the taller officer said, stepping into her path. We've had reports of theft. Mind if we check your bag? Jordan blinked. Excuse me. Don't make this difficult, the second officer snapped. I paid for my items, she said evenly. Here's my receipt. She reached into the bag, pulled it out, and offered it calmly. But they didn't look. They didn't want to. Ma'am, stop resisting, the taller one barked, though she hadn't moved an inch. His hand closed around her wrist. Shoppers slowed, heads turned. A ripple of unease spread across the store. Jordan's voice was still measured. Officer, I suggest you take a moment to confirm your information. But the cuffs were already out. Cold steel bit into her skin as the second officer clicked them shut. Phones rose. Cameras flashed. A mother whispered to her child, "Don't stare." An older man muttered, "Here we go again." Jordan's jaw tightened, but she kept her composure. Years of leadership had taught her that control wasn't about volume. It was about patience. "Empty the bag," one officer ordered. "You're making a mistake," Jordan said. They ignored her. One dumped the small paper sack onto the counter. Out slid a book hardcover, shrink-wrapped, price tag still intact, and the folded receipt beside it. For a split second, hesitation flickered in their faces. But pride pressed harder. Probably slipped something else in her coat, the taller one muttered. The crowd grew louder, voices mixing with the clatter of hangers and distant music. Someone shouted, "Check the cameras." Another said, "She showed you the receipt." Still, the officers tightened their grip. Jordan lowered her eyes, breathing steady, counting each second. She knew what was coming, and here right before the moment that would change everything. Let's pause. If you're hooked on this story so far, make sure you like and subscribe, because the best part is about to begin. Jordan raised her head. Her voice, when it came, was steady enough to cut through the noise. "Officers," she said, "before you embarrass yourselves further, you may want to check the identification in my wallet." The taller one scoffed. "Lady, you're not." But she twisted her cuffed wrist just enough to pull a slim leather case from her blazer pocket. She held it out, the gold badge inside catching the overhead light. Silence. "Captain Jordan Wells," she continued, her tone now carrying the authority of command. "Metropolitan Police Department. 20 years of service. Badge number 4172. The crowd erupted. Gasps, murmurs, then cheers from a few bold voices. The two officers froze, the color draining from their faces. The taller one stammered, "See, Captain, we are." Jordan cut him off with a look sharp enough to still him mid-sentence. "You profiled me. You ignored evidence. And you just cuffed a superior officer on false grounds. Do you understand the magnitude of your error?" Supervisors arrived within minutes, alerted by frantic radio chatter. The store manager hurried forward, pale and apologetic, waving the security footage that showed Jordan purchasing her book and walking calmly through the aisles. The cuffs were removed. Jordan flexed her wrists, red lines visible against brown skin. The crowd didn't leave. Phones were still recording, lenses hungry for the aftermath. The supervisors didn't bother with excuses. They pulled the two officers aside, voices clipped, posture tight with anger. Jordan could hear every word. Unprofessional conduct, racial profiling, suspension pending investigation. For the first time that night, she allowed herself a small exhale. By morning, the video had spread beyond the mall. Black woman arrested for shopping. While black, She's actually a police captain. Headlines multiplied. Comment sections exploded. Some praised Jordan's composure. Others condemned the officer's arrogance. The clip was replayed on local news, dissected by anchors, retweeted thousands of times. The image of her badge, flashing under the store lights, became the story's centerpiece. But Jordan knew the truth. It wasn't the badge that made the moment powerful. It was the silence, the pause between injustice and revelation when authority flipped. When Jordan returned to duty days later, colleagues greeted her with a mixture of admiration and unease. Some whispered apologies on behalf of the department. Others avoided her gaze. She filed her official report with precision. No exaggerations, no embellishments, just the facts. 2 officers, 1 false arrest.